Guys, I'm having a great Wednesday. Hopefully YouTube does their thing and lets people know that I'm live. I know in the community I posted that I was going live at 6:30. I'm a little bit earlier than that, so maybe some more people can filter in here before 6:30 actually gets here. But I'm just super excited because number one, I'm feeling much better. I mean, there for a minute, if you watch, let's see, Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, uh well, I don't think I did a live show, but definitely regular videos. My voice was basically gone. And then on top of that, the regular symptoms of, throat hurt, nausea, aching, all that stuff, which by the way, did not have COVID, got tested. No COVID going on. I don't think it was the flu, so it's just this pesky bug that got on me like out of the blue all of a sudden. And then it went over to my wife. She now has whatever I have, so hopefully she gets through it. But it came on so fast, and it lasted about a week. And now that it's gone, usually whenever something goes away, whenever I have something, it's more like I feel better this day, and then better, better and better. But on this one, it's like today I just feel way better. I still sound a little bit sick, but that's just the sound. I definitely feel much better. All right, guys, you guys are the first 10, 11 in here. You know what to do. Hit the like button. I've said this. I say this every live show, guys. That's what builds these videos. If you hit the like button, that builds. It hits the YouTube algorithm. It gets the video suggested to more platforms, and more people click on it and come. And that's just how it builds and builds and builds. So you guys are the core of this live show. Y'all came here first. I need you to hit that like button, and that way we can build this, and you will see the fruits of your work. Well, it's not really work. It's clicking the like, but I count it as work because I can't do it. I have to leave that up to y'all. So you will see the fruits of your work, and you'll see the video gain more and more views, and it's because of you hitting the like button. That's how important it is. We already got several people in the chat. Don't forget, we have the super chat button down on the bottom right. It is that dollar bill looking thing. I don't know how else to describe dollar bill. Yeah. Anyways, super chat. That's a awesome way to financially support the show. We greatly appreciate it. We do this full time, so this is how we make our money, and it guarantees you that I will most definitely read your comment, and it is most appreciated. Hopefully, y'all are having a great week. We got off to a slow start because I was sick, but now that I'm better, I'm having a great week, and I'm going to start my preview and prediction videos on this weekend. It might be Friday. It might be Saturday. I haven't locked down exactly which day, but that's when I'm going to start them. All right. And I'm probably going to do a couple teams per video. I've tried it several different ways. That seems to be the best because you can appeal to multiple fan bases in one video. I know a lot of people like it if you do just a video just for one team. It makes you feel good about your team because you have one whole video. But it's more difficult to promote that in certain groups and in certain platforms because you're only talking about one team. So if you can slide in 2 or 3, I probably wouldn't do any more than 3 into one video. You can promote it to different platforms, and you're talking to 3 different fan bases. So it's one video, but you can section it out. Like the first third, you're talking about this team. Middle third, you're talking about this team, and then the bottom third, you're finishing it off with the last team. And I will probably timestamp it too. That way, the teams that I am talking about, if you want to skip a certain team or you don't want to hear about that team, you want to hear about your team, you can skip it and go that way. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. I think it's gonna be my best year of previews and predictions. Now, having said that, last year I did better with my previews and predictions than 2019, just a smidge, but there were a few fails. All right, I'm not perfect. I'm not going to hit everything 100%. There was a few teams that I missed miserably. Let's see, the 2 that really pop off. Michigan State. I missed Michigan State big time. I thought Michigan State was going to be a terrible, terrible team. A lot of people were not expecting Michigan State to do anything. And yes, they finished 3rd in the Big Ten East. But my gosh, they had a Cinderella season, and it ended up beating Pitt in the Peach Bowl in the New Year's Six Bowl because Ohio State got the Rose Bowl bid, and of course Michigan got into the playoffs. What a year for the Big Ten! My gosh, especially the Big Ten East, all the top three finishers, double-digit win seasons, and every stinking one of them went to, at minimum, a New Year's Six Bowl. Michigan State, the Peach Bowl, win. Ohio State, the Rose Bowl, win. Michigan, the playoffs, that's a loss, but still, that's a good outing for the Big Ten. So, even though it turned out to be an all SEC national championship, and of course Georgia winning the national championship, I think the Big Ten had a good outing for themselves. I think they had a good season. I think they made their mark last year. So the question is, if we're talking about the Big Ten real quick, and I am, all right, so hold on a second. I think the team to watch out for as far as having the comeback year would be Penn State. Penn State has a lot of talent, and their schedule is going to be much easier than what it was last year. Whenever I did their preview prediction last year, I think I predicted them around 8-3, 7-5, but I think it was 8-4, 9-3. Excuse me. Totally butchered that. Sorry about that. 8-4 or 9-3, somewhere around there. But I was concerned that it could be lower than that because of how difficult the schedule was. Well, last year, the difficulty of the schedule beat out the talent on the team. This year, I think it's going to be the complete opposite. I think they're actually going to have a more talented team than what they did last year, and the schedule is going to be much more manageable than what it was last year. So I truly expect Penn State to have a bounce back year this year. Biggest reason is because of their schedule. Now, so I wasn't completely wrong about Penn State. I was just a little off. I think I was like 1 or 2 wins off. Michigan State, I was completely wrong about. I was right about Michigan. I was kind of right about Ohio State. I thought they would have a little bit of a better year, but I was right about Michigan. I was right about Wisconsin to a certain degree. They finished strong. I was right about Iowa. So overall, I actually had a pretty good outing for myself for the Big Ten, and that's with totally bombing on Michigan State. So overall, I would give myself probably a B for the Big Ten. If it wasn't for Michigan State, I'd probably have a solid A. You know what? Actually, no, not a B minus. We're going to go B minus. And if it wasn't for Michigan State, I'd probably give myself an A minus, borderline A, because everything else was pretty much spot on. Just a hair off with Penn State. Wisconsin was a hair off, but they finished strong, so I turned out to be pretty much right about Wisconsin. And I was definitely right about Iowa. And I was 100% right about Northwestern. I warned Northwestern fans that they were going to fall this year. Remember, they had a magical 2020 season. Well, their starting quarterback transferred before last year, and they lost most of their defense. And I was like, Northwestern fans, you guys don't recruit at the level to where you can have a great season like that year after year after year. And on top of that, a shrunken schedule helped Northwestern in 2020. So I hit the nail right on the head when it came to Northwestern in the Big Ten. Overall, I'm happy with my prediction that I gave on the Big Ten last year. The only team that I completely bombed was Michigan State. So everybody, any of you big-time Big Ten fans, you're a fan of a team in the Big Ten, stay tuned for my Big Ten predictions. They'll be coming up, I don't know exactly when, but sometime before the season starts. I was close last year, so keep your ears out for it to see what Golden Blue has to say about your team this year. All right, so that's the Big Ten. Did okay for the Big Ten. Let's move on over to the ACC. I have to give myself probably a C+. I was a little more hit and miss for the ACC. I definitely thought Clemson was going to be much better than what they were. They definitely had an off year, and I did not see Wake Forest coming at all. I missed them completely. What I did hit was North Carolina taking a step backwards because they lost their double running backs. I didn't think that they would fall as much as they did. And I was right about NC State taking a step forward this year. So I was right about that. So wrong about Clemson, Wake Forest, right about NC State and North Carolina falling. And I was right about Miami being okay, but nothing to brag about. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think Miami really fell all that much. I just don't think that they progressed at all. So for the ACC overall, I'd give myself probably a C plus, A minus. I'm trying to think of any other team that I completely. I was basically right about not Penn State. I was basically right about Pitt. I can't remember if I predicted Pitt to win the Coastal, but I had them right up there. I think with Miami, if I'm not mistaken. It might have been North Carolina. I don't know. I can't remember if I actually picked Pitt to win the Coastal, but I had them having a pretty good year. So it pains me to say it, but I was pretty much correct about Pitt. I think they were actually better than what I thought they would be, if I'm being honest. But I did think they would have a better year. So overall, I give myself probably C plus, B minus for the ACC. SEC, A freaking plus, guys. A plus. The SEC I nailed to a T this past year. If you go back and watch my prediction videos, I predicted Georgia to have one loss. Now, I was wrong about the team that they were going to lose to. I predicted them to lose to Clemson at the beginning of the year and then win out and win the national championship. Okay, so I was wrong about the loss that Georgia was going to take. Everything else, right. So I predicted them to have one loss and win the national championship. That happened. All right. I predicted Kentucky to finish second in the SEC East, which seems like, hindsight always 2020. But back then, people were like, you're crazy. Florida's going to finish second in the East. And I was like, guys, y'all saw the preview of the Florida team you're going to get against Oklahoma in that ball game. Y'all got blown out. That's the team you're going to have. Oh, no, God, we were resting the starters. We're going to have Emory Jones going to have a fantastic year. I'm like, no, Florida fans. No, it's not happening. Kentucky's going to finish second. Florida's going to fall. Kentucky finished second. Florida fell big time. I think I was right about Tennessee. I was actually wrong about South Carolina finishing ahead of Florida, but that's the only placing. So I was right about the fall of Florida. They just fell one spot more than what I predicted. I predicted Florida to fall 4 spots. They actually fell 5 spots. That was insane. So I was pretty much right, just 1 spot off between South Carolina and Florida. 100% right about Georgia, 100% right about Kentucky. So I'll go, I was 95, 97, 98% right about the SEC East. What about the SEC West? I predicted Alabama to have 2 losses. What I was wrong about was I thought that their second loss was going to be in the SEC championship, knocked them out of the playoffs. I was wrong about that. They actually did beat Georgia, got in the national championship, got beat by Georgia in the national championship for their second loss. What I was right about was I predicted Alabama, and you can go back and watch the tape. It's marked. It's there for everybody to see. I predicted Alabama to lose to Texas A&M before the season started. And I was really nervous about that prediction whenever the game, whenever it was time for the game to come around, because Texas A&M was looking bad, not good. And Alabama was looking good at that time. They hadn't lost a game. They were looking like a pretty elite team. So I was like, man, that prediction is not going to work out. Maybe I can make it up with maybe Alabama will trip up against Ole Miss at home, and that'll make up. No, it came through. Texas A&M came through. And the crazy thing is, even though I predicted Texas A&M to beat Alabama, I didn't predict them to win the SEC West. And a lot of people thought that I was crazy for doing that. Well, if you predict Texas A&M to beat Alabama, then shouldn't you predict Texas A&M to win the SEC West? Because Alabama's usually the cream of the crop. right? So if Alabama's the cream of the crop and you predict a team to beat Alabama, then they should be the cream of the crop, right? Well, that's not exactly how it always works out. Okay. You have to look at the rest of the schedule, and it just seemed like that's where Alabama was going to trip up. And I still didn't believe in Texas A&M. I think I had them going 9-3 or 8-4. People laughed at me. Oh no, Jimbo Fisher's a better coach than what you're giving him credit for. I'm telling you right now, Texas A&M fans, he's not a very good coach. Okay, great recruiter, amazing, awesome, fantastic recruiter, and A&M has the money, but he is not a very good coach. Okay, he's not. Let me rephrase that. He's not an elite coach. I'll say he's a good coach, all right? Because, 8-4, that's still a decent year. But these people that's putting him in elite status, that's insane, guys. That is insane. He is not an elite coach. He won that 2013 national championship off of one player and then off the backs of the recruits of Bobby Bowden. Talking about Jameis Winston at Florida State, and then the rest were Bobby Bowden recruits. What happened after that? Jimbo Fisher left Florida State in a crap ton of trouble as far as talent goes. People were talking about how Florida State had a historically bad offensive line. One of the worst offensive lines that they have ever seen. Ever. That's how bad of a shape he left Florida State in. So, and I'm trying to get one thing that I figured out since starting this YouTube channel is whenever you talk about somebody's coach, they associate it with, well, you're talking about the team, the entire team. That's not true at all. That's not true at all. Okay. So one of the biggest things is Texas A&M fans think that because I'm down on Jimbo Fisher that I don't like Texas A&M. Why would I not like Texas A&M? I don't have any issues with Texas. Look, I do this YouTube channel and I give you my opinion from what I see. That doesn't mean you're going to agree with me, okay? In fact, I hope you disagree with me because that's what gets the conversation going. And sometimes I change your mind and sometimes you change my mind. Yes, sometimes you change my mind. I'm wrong sometimes. I'm not perfect. I'm human, right? So I make these videos, my opinion based on my eyeballs, what I see. I get in these conversations. Sometimes I'm able to, talk to the people and change their mind. And sometimes the people are, sometimes can talk to me and change my mind. And so you have to learn to separate me talking about a player or a coach and, oh man, you're trash talking my team. Got to blue. Trash talking my team. One of the biggest things was this Caleb Williams thing. Right? So he's going off on social media, just whine. And every time the drama dies down between him and Lincoln Riley in social media, he has to say something to get it riled back up. All right, so I make those videos, right, about Caleb Williams, and I pump them out all over Facebook. I'm a member of like 5 or 6 USC groups, and I pump them out there. Man, this guy can't stand USC. You hear the way he's talking about Caleb Williams? Number one, I'm not trash talking Caleb Williams. I'm just telling you what he's done. He's the one that made the tweets and stuff. That's not me. I didn't tweet about him, whining. He made the tweets. I'm talking about the tweets. Okay? So, the USC fans are mad at me because I called out Caleb Williams for trying to stir it up again and create drama. And number one, I never said Caleb Williams was a bad quarterback. Those words did not come out of my mouth, not at all. I think he has great potential. He has the potential to be a great quarterback. The thing that I don't like about him is he keeps stirring the pot. He keeps trying to rile people back up. Well, it worked. I made a video about it, and then USC fans are mad at me for making a video about it. Get mad at Caleb Williams for what he's doing, not me. I'm not. And I was very specific in those Caleb Williams videos. Very specific. I said, I made it plain and simple. I said, USC fans, I'm not talking trash about you. This is not about you. This is not about the football team. Hell, this one right here is not about Lincoln Riley. I've made videos about Lincoln Riley, but that video was not about Lincoln Riley. That was about Caleb Williams. And the thing is, Caleb Williams hasn't played a single snap for USC. And they're already dying on the sword for this guy. They act like he's a Hall of Famer, that's already played his career at USC, that went to the NFL, had a great NFL. Now he's in the NFL Hall of Fame. And, he's in his retirement years, and I'm out here talking crap about him. So they're defending him because he's a lifelong USC guy. He hasn't played a single down for USC, and they are dying on the sword for him already. I'll tell you what right now, and like I said in the beginning, or whenever I started this, I am not trash talking USC fans. You will know when I trash talk you, okay? This is not it. But if you are a USC fan, you're going to be defending this guy a lot. A lot. All right? Because this guy likes to whine. He likes to start drama. So fair warning, any USC guys that are watching this live show, I'm not trash talking you. I'm just letting you know you're going to be defending him a lot. All right? Shane M1980 with the $5 super chat. Greatly appreciate that. He says, I'm very biased, but feeling good about LSU and the job BK, Brian Kelly, doing so far. I agree with that. And I think LSU falls under the first tier of teams that I'll be doing a prediction on. So you should get your LSU prediction within the first week. So, yeah, I'm happy about that. Yeah, Joey Foster, Wild 30 people and 30 likes. That's what I'm talking about. And to you, 11, 12 that were first in the live show, this is what I'm talking about. You hit the like. It's getting, hitting the algorithm. Now we have more people. Now we have 34 in here. All right. So the new people, if you haven't hit the like button, please hit it. That's what builds this video. It helps hit the YouTube algorithm, gets it suggested more to all the platforms. People click on it, and the audience gets bigger. Ask the 10 that were in here whenever I first started it, and it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And here in about probably 10, 15 minutes, I'll probably be talking to 50, maybe 60 people, and then you 34 can be like, we did that because it's your work. It's you that hitting the like button that builds the video, not me. I'm just talking. I can't hit the like 34 times or how many ever times. So whenever the audience grows, if you hit the like button, you can know that was you that did that. So I always try to put out the importance of that because, it's not about really necessarily like the super chats or the PayPal, although we greatly appreciate that. That helps a lot financially. It's growing it. The little things, and the liking is easy, fast, simple, free. So there we go. Anyways, got sidetracked. Bottom line is, if you haven't hit the like button, please do so. Or if you don't like it, hit the down button. That works too. But USC fans, the way that Caleb Williams and Lincoln Riley have been talking this offseason, my gosh, anything under a 10-win season and you're going to get laughed at. And that's not me talking. That's just how it's been set up. And I think USC is capable of going maybe like 8-4, 9-3. And that's a tremendous uptick from last year. USC went 4-8. 4-8. So if you switch from 4-8 to 8-4, that should be a freaking celebration. Heck, 4-8 to 7-5 or 6-6, getting to a bowl, that's a celebration. Problem is, Lincoln Riley and Caleb Williams have been running their mouth and stirring it and riling people up. So now the expectations as far as, a successful year is probably 10-2. So, oh man, I'm letting USC fans know that you're going to be defending Caleb Williams a lot because he's being dramatic right now. All right, Utah. I actually did a video today on, either the Pac-12 or the Big 12 surviving. I don't see them coexisting as a Power Five conference. I'm not saying they can't coexist as conferences. One's going to go away forever and only one's going to remain. What I'm saying is the way things are trending, both are not going to be a power conference probably within 10 years. So the moves that these two conferences make in the next 2 to 5 years it's going to determine if they are going to exist as a Power 5 conference. By the way, if you're not a subscriber of Golden Blue Dude and you just stumbled on this live show, give it a shot, guys. I'm telling you, we do videos every day. College football fanatic. I own it. This is a disease, a sickness. That's the whole reason I started this channel, because every time I had a conversation with my friends, my coworkers, or my family, they're like, "My gosh, you drive me crazy with this college football talk. You need an outlet. Do something." And I saw some YouTube channels on YouTube, and I was like, "Hey, that might work." So I'm warning you. Fair warning. My channel, college football, all the time, every day. So hit the like and subscribe button, and only if you're a college football fan. If you're not, then you might not like it. So let me give you that warning right there. For Utah, though, I think Utah's headed in a very good direction. They're one of the keys to either the Big 12 or the Pac-12 survival. That's what I was talking about before I went on that rant. Because I don't think that those two conferences are gonna coexist as Power 5 conferences. So what they do between now and 2026, 2027 will determine who stays at Power 5 and who doesn't. All right. So what does the Pac-12 need to do? Well, first of all, they need to not sit on their hands. All right. I thought before the Big 12 went out and got BYU, I thought that there was a chance that the Pac-12 could go out and grab Boise State and BYU, and that would be a great addition. Problem is, BYU is a religious school, and the Pac-12 looks down on religious schools. And the Pac-12 is definitely not taking Boise State by itself. No offense to any Boise State fans that might be in the chat, but your brand is just not strong enough. Tier 1 research facilities, there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. But if you were coupled with BYU, then yeah, they could have brought you in. But the Pac-12 stuck up their nose, looked down on BYU. You're a religious school. We don't want that there. And that's going to hurt the Pac-12 in the long run. So that's a mistake. But the Pac-12 can make up for that mistake. All right. What they need to do is they need to be looking to see, number one, is there a possibility to grab maybe some of the Western teams from the Big Ten? I don't think there's any chance of that. I really don't. So don't think that I'm saying that. Not at all. The Big Ten is shelling out a lot of money. The Pac-12 is going to have a new TV deal soon, so I'm very interested to see how much money that's going to be worth. But I would, just test the waters at least. Talk to a Nebraska, talk to a Minnesota maybe, talk to an Iowa or a Wisconsin. Those are the 4 teams that I would at least talk to and just, and I don't know the rules. Maybe they're not even allowed to talk to them. I don't know. But, fill them out. See what's going on with those 2 teams. I don't think the Big 12 has come out with their new TV deal yet. I know they're looking into it, and it's supposed to be worth over $1 billion, but the deal's not locked in yet. So look into those teams, but then besides that, because that's I think that's out of the Pac-12's reach, then you start looking at the Big 12. And this is the key opportunity for the Big 12 and the Pac-12, both conferences, because both conferences, their TV deals are about to be expired. They're going to get new TV deals, and both conferences' grant of rights are about to expire. That's a big deal. So if one conference can pick off a few members from the other conference, they're going to have the advantage. So with the Pac-12, they could pick off, they could pick off a Kansas State, Oklahoma State, and Baylor, maybe a Texas Tech, maybe a TCU. Although my commenters pointed out in the video, Baylor and TCU off the board because of religious affiliation, which is too bad because Baylor could help the Pac-12 a lot. They're doing great in football and basketball right now. So another personal decision by the Pac-12 that's going to bite them in the rear end if they had the opportunity with TCU and Baylor. But who's left? Well, you got Texas Tech, who I know is a Tier 1 research facility, so they could actually take them off the bat. I think Oklahoma State is also Tier 1. That's not a bad combo. Then you'd also have Kansas and Kansas State. I don't think Kansas and Kansas State would do anything for the Pac-12 other than hurt the Big 12. So you could add those 4 teams strictly because you want to hurt the Big 12. Kansas and Kansas State would give you some basketball eyeballs, but really it's about football. So you'd want Oklahoma State and Texas Tech. So those 4 teams would be a good addition. And also looking in the group of 5, you could go out and get a San Diego State. Although I've heard a lot of Pac-12 fans saying that the California schools in the Pac-12 don't want any more California schools. So that hurts San Diego State right there. I think San Diego State would be a great get for the Pac-12, but, politics, But other teams that could be on the board, I like Nevada. I think their brand has gotten much stronger in the past 10 years. You could add Utah State for an in-state rival for Utah. See, that's another opportunity that the Pac-12 missed. BYU is actually a rival of Utah, and if they would have brought Utah in, overlooked the whole religion thing, there's your rivalry. That's a lot of money for people to watch that. I'm not a Utah fan or a BYU fan, but I'm going to watch the Holy War every time it gets played. And it would also guarantee that those 2 teams would play every year. Some people don't realize this. They don't play every year. In fact, whenever I made the video today, whenever I did the research, they're actually on a 2-year hiatus right now. They're not going to play again until, I think, 2024. So Utah and BYU do not play every year, and they should. That was a big missed opportunity by the Pac-12 right there, all because of religious affiliation. I find that to be a bad excuse to turn down a team. I'm sorry. It doesn't really make any sense. I think that's a lot of money lost. Now, I know Utah State, like the Utah fan pointed out in the chat, Utah State's not as big of a rival as BYU, but it's something. It's a decent rivalry. I think it's a good rivalry. Just not the level of BYU and Utah. That's on a whole different level. I think that's one of those. I think BYU versus Utah should be played every year. One of those. That's kind of like Pitt, West Virginia. That should have been somebody should have gotten arrested for that because Pitt and West Virginia should play every stinking year. So whenever that ended, and it was how many years in a row that they had played? Like over 100 years in a row that Pitt and West Virginia played. I think they even played through the Second World War, which stopped a lot of rivalries. So that's how big of a deal that was. So for the Pac-12 to survive, they're going to have to get, picking off the Big 12 would be number 1. But then the second thing would be getting nice brands from the group of 5, like a San Diego State. Somebody mentioned the Colorado State. That would be a great rivalry for Colorado. I looked at rivals, and Colorado State is actually is the biggest rival of Colorado. That surprised me because one's Power 5, one's Group of 5. But it's a fact. The biggest rival of Colorado is Colorado State, even though they flat out own the series. I mean, by a significant margin. Colorado State is, in fact, Colorado's biggest rival. So that could be something that you add, and Colorado would like that. Maybe it's something where you could let's see. It would be a way to keep Colorado from leaving. All right, how about that? It would keep Colorado from leaving. So it'd be it would serve 2 purposes. It would bring in a decent rivalry for Colorado, and it would keep Colorado from leaving. So there's a way right there for the Pac-12. So there's all the ways the Pac-12, avoids oblivion. What about the Big 12? I think the Big 12 is actually on better footing because I don't think their teams are going to be as tempted to leave the Big 12 because I've heard that Oregon and USC have talked to the Big 10 so they can leave. Once that happens, maybe a Washington and a UCLA would follow them or head over to the SEC. And then the Big 12 could pick off Arizona, Arizona State, and maybe a Utah and Colorado. So that's why I don't think the Big 12 is necessarily a better conference. What I'm saying is I think the Big 12 is in a better situation because they don't have teams talking to as many other conferences as the Pac-12 does. From what I've heard, several Pac-12 teams are talking to other conferences. And if those teams get picked off, then the other teams are like, well, we don't want to be in a conference that's, being picked apart. Our biggest brands like USC, Washington, UCLA, and Oregon are gone. Let's get out of here. And they can leave together. You could have the two Arizona schools, Arizona, Arizona State, and then, of course, Colorado and Utah, all leave, all together to the Big 12. Who does that leave for the Pac-12? You'd have Oregon State, Washington State, Stanford, and Cal. I think that's all you'd have left. So, yeah, not much of anything. That's all it takes. One little big move and the dominoes fall. And the one, well, that didn't make sense. One little big move. One big move is what I meant to say. One big move. A USC or an Oregon or a Washington saying, hey, we're going over to the Big 10 or the SEC. But I would think it would be two at a time. So we're looking at it could be Oregon, Washington, could be a Oregon, UCLA, could be Oregon, USC, could be a Washington, USC, Washington, UCLA, UCLA, USC. Any combination of those four right there. Point is, those teams are talking to the Big 10 and the SEC. That doesn't guarantee that they're going to leave, but if that shoe were to fall, then the others would follow, and boom, there goes the Pac-12. Now, am I predicting that to happen? No. Pac-12 might be fine. They might get a great TV deal, get some that alliance between the Big 10 and the ACC stronger than ever, getting those the best matchups possible. And they might be just fine and continue as a Power 5. My point was I don't think they're in as good of a position as the Big 12 because the SEC and the Big 10 aren't interested in Big 12 teams. They're interested in Pac-12 teams. And that's what makes the Pac-12 more on shaky ground. But maybe nothing comes out of it. And, the Pac-12 lives on and is one of the greatest conferences, ever. And back whenever USC was a powerhouse year after year, Pac-12 had a great name. I remember that. That was when I was in my early 20s, and USC was carrying the torch for the Pac-12, and nobody thought that Pete Carroll was going to leave USC, and nobody thought that anybody could dethrone USC while Pete Carroll was at USC. And then, of course, he went on to Seattle, and things fell apart for the Pac-12. And Oregon had a few good runs under Chip Kelly. So who's the next team? Is it going to be the rise of USC again, like a Phoenix, or Oregon makes a comeback? I don't think so, guys. I think there's two other teams, and they're both in the Pac-12 South. First team, of course, Utah. We see the momentum year after year. I think their schedule sets up a little bit better this year. So I like Utah, and I also like UCLA. Chip Kelly is doing at UCLA what he did at Oregon. He's recruiting. He's getting their recruiting a solid foundation for that. Chip Kelly isn't going to recruit at a super high level at a place like UCLA right off the bat whenever they're not recruiting like that. but it gets better and better and better. Go look at how UCLA was recruiting before Chip Kelly. Not very good. Now look at how they're recruiting now. Pretty good. And they had I know it was a forgettable year last year, but guys, before Chip Kelly was at UCLA, I don't think they were making bowls, to be honest with you. And last year, hold on, I know, I should know this off the top of my head, but I don't. Last year, 8-4. 8-4. I know some people are like, 8-4. Why didn't I know that? It's because UCLA is flying under the radar. Guys, that is only 2 wins off a 10-win season. And I think UCLA is headed towards a 10-win season and winning the Pac-12 South. So here's what's going on. Let me lay it out for you. Right now, what's going on is USC is the big news of the Pac-12 because of Lincoln Riley coming and bringing in Caleb Williams, Mario Williams, and, number 1 transfer class, all that stuff. But, guys, it's UCLA that you're going to have to keep an eye on in the Pac-12 South. Utah's already there, all right? Everybody knows Utah's there, and Utah's going to be legit again. In fact, Utah could be even better this year because I think their offense is going to be better. That was kind of their issue last year, Utah's offense. They had a great defense, but their offense was hit and miss. Well, I think their offense is going to be much better. But UCLA is the team to watch in the Pac-12 South. I think it's going to be between UCLA and Utah for the Pac-12 South. And if I had to lay money on it right now, I would say Utah, but it wouldn't surprise me if UCLA won it. All right? It wouldn't surprise me at all. So I think it's going to be, it might be 1A, 1B with UCLA and Utah, and then whoever wins the head-to-head, that's who wins first. Which, hold on, give me 1 second. I'm trying to see where that game, that might be the game of the year for the Pac-12, to be honest with you. And that's going to be played at UCLA. So that's why I'm leaning towards UCLA in the South, because they get Washington at home, they get Utah at home, they get USC at home. The only tough road game they have is at Oregon, and that's a Pac-12 North team, so that's not going to hurt them as much. So I like UCLA's schedule. I think last year they kind of flew under the radar. I think UCLA can have a 10-win season this year, and Utah is going to be right there with them, but kind of the tiebreaker falls, it's falling towards UCLA's side. Now, for Utah, their schedule could be a tricky first game against Florida. It is on the road. Even though I don't think Florida's going to be any good, those first true road tests can be very, very tricky because a team can think that they're better than what they are because they haven't played a game yet. It's at home. It's going to be packed out. The atmosphere is going to be insane. And Florida, I think they're a 6-6 team, maybe a 7-5 team. They get to a bowl, but that's the first game of the year, so that could be a winnable game for Florida because they don't know. They're not as great as they think they are, and it's at home. So, I don't know. Utah's the better team, okay? That's what I'm trying to say. Utah is better than Florida, but it's the first game of the year, and it's a home game for Florida. That's why it could go either way. After that, the road trip to UCLA, and then the road trip to Oregon. See, I like this schedule a lot. I really do. If they could flip that game on the road to UCLA and win that, then Utah will have a 10-win season without a doubt. But even if that don't happen, I think Utah is very capable of having a 10-win season. But that road trip to UCLA could be the difference, and UCLA wins the Pac-12 South. Utah has a great season, double-digit wins, but UCLA came out of nowhere, and no one saw it except for Golden Blue Dude. Yeah. It's going to be one of those teams where nobody sees coming. But I think UCLA UCLA's coming this year, guys. UCLA is the team to watch in the Pac-12 South. They're my Kentucky from last year. Last year, I predicted Kentucky to jump. I think they finished 4th or 5th the year before. They had a losing season. They went 5-6, I believe. And I predicted them to jump all the way to second place. People are like, you're nuts. I'm like, I'm telling you, Mark Stoops is building something there. The schedule sets up nicely for Kentucky. 10-win season, second place in the SEC East. Book it. That's exactly what happened. So I'm leaning towards that for UCLA. I had to do a look. I had to look into how many stars they lost for offense and how many stars they lost for defense, and then I will lock in my prediction video for UCLA. But sneak peek would be the Pac-12 South race is between UCLA and Utah, not USC. I am not buying into the hype of USC. I'm sorry. They're going to be better than what they were last year. 4-8. I'm going to say 7-5. That's a bowl. That's a massive jump forward. But it'll seem like a letdown because Lincoln Riley and Caleb Williams are trying to make USC fans believe like they're going to have a 10-win season. Guys, it's not in the cards this year. I don't see it. I do think USC gets to a bowl. But 7-5, maybe 8-4. They could pull off an 8-4. But Utah and UCLA, the teams to watch in the Pac-12 South. Pac-12 North, of course, Oregon and probably Washington. I think Washington has a chance to win the Pac-12 North this year. We'll see. I'll get into my predictions on Friday or Saturday. I haven't made up my mind. Switching over to the Big Ten, I think Ohio State takes back over for. Hold on, guys. My kid's school is calling me real quick. Hold on. Okay. Oh, it's what happened was my kid is in what's called a primary school, and next year he's going to be in an elementary school. It's weird. First I ever heard of it. Anyways, the principal of the elementary school just called me on a voicemail saying he's very excited to have my kid. So basically, my kid's moving up. Anyways, but I always try to take those calls whenever I see it pop on my phone. Now, the big thing is we want to see more exciting games for Pac-12 after dark because I am one of those college football fanatics where I will watch college football from noon all the way up till freaking 1 a.m. if the game is exciting. The problem with the Pac-12 after dark is the atmospheres have been very lacking, especially this last year, and the games have not been very good. The exception would be Utah, Oregon. That regular season game between Utah and Oregon, that was probably the best atmosphere out of any Pac-12 games there is. Let me stop just for a second, guys. We're at 51 watching. What did I say to the 34 that was watching earlier? Your work will pay off by hitting that like button, all right? So everybody keep hitting that like button, and that's how the audience keeps building, all right? And I can't do it. So, there's a proof that your work is working. I like to point that out and keep my my chat motivated. So if you haven't hit the like button, I'm telling you, it helps hit the video a lot. And I appreciate everybody that has hit the like button. Y'all have helped this video grow and grow and grow. But so let's see, what division was I talking about? Oh, the Pac-12. Pac-12 after dark. Pac-12 After Dark has the potential of being something special because it is their own time slot, but the atmospheres have got to be better. And Utah is pulling the entire Pac-12 when it comes to atmosphere. Oregon, hit and miss. And that surprised me last year because Oregon, usually their atmospheres are the best in the Pac-12, through the roof. But last year, it was Utah that carried the Pac-12. So we need, when I say we, I'm talking like as in college football fans. that want to watch college football after dark, well into the wee hours. We need Utah. Keep doing your thing, pack it out, have a great atmosphere, have some great games, but we also need Oregon to kick. Do what you're capable of. Kick it up to that notch that you're capable of. That's what we need. For whatever reason, the atmosphere for Oregon was not great last year. Washington, man, I remember when Washington had one of the greatest atmospheres in all of college football. That stadium literally swayed. They would do camera shots, and the stadium has this nice view of the lake up there. And whenever it was rocking, you could literally see the stadium sway in the lake in the background. I don't think it does it anymore because they've renovated and insured all those joists up. The bottom line is Washington is capable of having one of the most raucous atmospheres in all the nation. All the nation. I mean, it was insane. The drop off that Washington has had since the early 90s or the Warren Moon era, all that stuff. Washington is capable of it. So in order for the Pac-12 after dark to succeed, we need the atmospheres to be electric. Utah's doing their part. Oregon, we know they're capable of it. Just do it, Oregon. Washington, you've lost a little something, but we know you're capable of it as well. And I know the rest are like smaller-ish stadiums, like Oregon State's under 40,000, Washington State's under 40,000. But there's times where that atmosphere is pretty ridiculous. So I know you are capable of it. Pac-12 South is where there's a lot of work, even though that's where Utah is. Besides Utah, nobody's doing their job. Nobody's doing their job. Okay. When Arizona's good, the Arizona fans do their job. I will say that. But Arizona 1-11, what can a fan base do with 1-11? Not much. Okay. There's not much you can do with 1-11. So I can't really jump onto the Arizona fans for that. Arizona State, there's something about Sun Devil Stadium that sucks the life out of the Arizona State fan base. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's built funny. Maybe it's built to where the noise escapes. I don't know. I've never really seen a home game for Arizona State really be intimidating and raucous. And I've seen them packed out. I'm not saying that they don't pack out the stadium. They do. But it's never intimidating. So I don't know what Arizona State needs to do, but Sun Devil Stadium is not a good atmosphere. Maybe they need a new stadium. Maybe they need to do what Baylor did. Baylor's home atmosphere went through the roof, even though they went down on capacity from like around 60,000 to down to around 45,000. The new stadium is amazing, amazing. So for the Pac-12 South, Sun Devil Stadium, it's not working for Arizona State. I'm sorry, it's just not. Y'all need a new stadium. That atmosphere is flat. All right, who else in the Pac-12 South? We know USC is capable of it whenever USC is good. The problem is USC is in Los Angeles, and you're looking at movie stars, basketball players, football players. If they're in the mood, they'll go and be raucous and support the Trojans. But, if they got something better like a special dinner or, I don't know what they do over there, a walk on the beach, I don't know, then they're not going to support. USC needs more loyal fans to come to the games and be loud. The student section is pretty good. I'll give USC that. USC's really good with their student body, their student section, but they need more loyal fans to pack out the Coliseum. Capacity right under 80,000. And in the early 90s, when USC was good, they would put in over 80,000 in the Coliseum. So when USC is good, that atmosphere is ridiculous. Problem is, for USC to have that atmosphere, they have to be really good. So USC is going to have to go from 4-8 all the way up to at least 10-2 for you to get the atmosphere that USC is capable of. So we'll see if they can do that. UCLA is very hit and miss. Very, very hit and miss. They rarely pack out the Rose Bowl, but I will say this: I will give them credit. All right, so the Rose Bowl holds 90,000, right? Um, they probably shove in there probably 50 to 70,000 regularly. When USC is down, or when UCLA is down, probably not even 40,000. But UCLA's been getting better and better and better. So UCLA's been averaging between 50 70,000. And no, that doesn't pack out the Rose Bowl because that's a big stadium, 90,000. But they can get loud. So I would say that UCLA fans are louder, like person for person. UCLA can be louder. Now, if they packed out the Rose Bowl every stinking home game, that could get really loud. So the first thing that I would have to say to UCLA is you need to start selling out and packing out that stadium. That would make a world of difference. So that's the first thing you need to do. So moving on, Cal, whenever they had what's his name? Quarterback for Green Bay. I can't even think of his name now. Aaron Rodgers. When Aaron Rodgers was the quarterback for Cal back in the early 2000s, yeah, they could have a decent atmosphere. But man, and Marshawn Lynch too. That was amazing too. But ever since then, Cal's atmosphere is dead. Very, very dead. They don't hardly ever pack it out, and they're not very loud. Stanford, not a very big stadium, but when they do pack it out, they are capable of having a great atmosphere. But it's not guaranteed even when they do pack it out. So that's one of those things where great when it happens, but when it doesn't, it happens. So the biggest thing for the Pac-12 after dark to be successful is the fans need to start showing up and need to start being loud because that's what makes a game entertaining. Competition, yes, of course that helps. You want it to be a great game. But think about this, all right? Whenever the COVID year happened and there was 20,000 in the stands at most, even a competitive game where it was back and forth, that's not as good as a packed out, let's say, a packed out Georgia Stadium or a packed out Oklahoma Stadium. Even when they were beating their opponent by a couple touchdowns, and you're pretty sure Oklahoma's going to win, or you're pretty sure Georgia's going to win, or you're pretty sure Clemson's going to win. The atmosphere kept you more than the back and forth in front of 15 to 20,000 fans. So let's be honest. So if you're a Pac-12 fan and you're watching this live show, pass it on. I don't care if you're a Utah fan or a USC fan or Oregon fan or a UCLA fan, whoever. Don't just talk to your fellow fans. Talk to other fans as well. Like I'm on Facebook and I'm a member of at least 600 groups. I mean, I'm talking Utah fan bases, USC, Oregon, Clemson, Wake Forest, NC State, North Carolina, Miami, all over the country. There's Facebook groups from all over the country. So I'm telling you, if y'all are serious about the Pac-12 after dark being successful and the Pac-12 being successful and continuing to be a Power 5, you need to have talks with these other fan bases and be like, hey, we need to start bringing the energy to these stadiums, guys. I understand if you're having a losing season, but like last year for UCLA, they went 8-4. They should have been packing out like West Virginia. We had a 6-6 year. That's not good at all. We were still able to put in 45,000 in over 45,000. I think it was close to 50,000 actually. Against who was it? Texas, or it might have been over 50,000 towards the end of the year. And we were not having a great year. So for UCLA, 8-4, if West Virginia was having an 8-4 season, I guarantee you every stinking home game would have been a sellout. If we go above 7-5, we are selling out every home game. So I understand if you have a bad, terrible team like Arizona 1-11, so by game 6 or 7, it's not selling out, and you're putting like 30, 40,000. I understand that. But if you're having a season to where you could be in a bowl or a good bowl, like 8-4, 9-3, 10-win season, there is no excuse. Start packing out those stadiums. Trey Sargent says we had 53,000 for the Oklahoma State game, and that's when we had a bad season. 53,000. I promise you, when West Virginia has an 8-4 season, every game is going to be sold out. That's just how we are. If we're halfway decent, we're selling out the stadium. Even when we're not so halfway decent, we come close to selling out. So there you go. Pass it on to your fellow Pac-12 fan bases. Look, the rest of us, we want the Pac-12 after dark to be successful. I miss the Pac-12 being relevant. So let's get serious about this. Let's get the Pac-12 back to where it needs to be, and successful. I want the Pac-12 to make the playoffs. I do. I can't put a reason on it either, other than I'd really like to see a West Coast team in the playoffs. That's my reason. Okay, I want to see a West Coast team in the playoffs. Guys, I got to get out of here. I got a few other things I have to do later this evening. This was a great hour, guys. I know I rambled a lot, but I love college football, and it gets better and better and better the closer we get to college football. So I'm excited, guys. I hope you're pumped. I'm glad I'm starting to come off of this sickness. It was horrible. I lost my voice, but I still, the grind doesn't stop. I still gutted it out, and it's fun for me. This is fun, guys. I'm having fun. I hope you're having fun too. So if you came across this live show, what in the world am I watching? This was a YouTube channel of an obsessed college football fan. Yes, I'm a fan of West Virginia, but seriously, 90% of my videos are not West Virginia. It's all of college football. Now, I do some West Virginia, but ask anybody, most of my videos are actually not West Virginia. So if you're an avid college football fan, this is the YouTube channel for you. I'm going to tell you right now, if you're a college football fan, this is the channel for you. So I appreciate everybody that stopped by. I know a lot of people hit the like button. I appreciate that. Shane M 1980 super chat, awesome. Appreciate that, guys. So this was a lot of fun, guys, and y'all grew the video right before my eyes and your eyes. So next time, remember, hit that like button. That's how we grow the channel, and you see the fruits of your work literally happen right in front of your eyes. Y'all have a good night, guys, and another live show coming at you Friday. It's either going to be 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock. I'll keep you updated in the community as far as exactly what time, depending on how much time I need between this live show and the West Virginia live show on the Voice of College Football. All right, guys, have a good night. Have a great rest of your week, and I will see you on Friday.